Welcome to the Deep Dive, everybody.
Glad to be here.
Today, we're going to be diving deep into the history and function of the FBI.
The FBI.
And this is, specifically tailored to our listeners out there. So
Right.
think of this as like your mindful moment,
Yeah.
A chance to just nourish your mind on the go, right?
Absolutely.
We're using AI, obviously, to kind of summarize key points from a whole stack of research about the FBI.
Yeah.
And this is going to bring you a clear, concise, and captivating deep dive into this really powerful organization. I mean,
It is. It's learning without being overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Kind of like a curated mental snack.
Exactly. So to kick things off,
Sure.
picture this, okay?
Okay.
World War II.
Mm-hmm.
German spies have landed on American soil.
Oh, wow.
They're here to sabotage key industries, right?
Okay.
But one of them gets cold feet and turns himself in.
Really?
That actually happened.
Wow.
It was a pivotal moment, really, for the FBI.
I bet.
And it showed how, even in wartime, human psychology can really play a huge role.
Absolutely.
But it also forced the Bureau to adapt, to threats right here on their own soil.
On their home turf. Yeah.
So it's really amazing how much the FBI has evolved since its humble beginnings back in 1908. I mean, back then, there were only 34 agents.
Wow.
No guns.
Really?
And they had no arrest powers.
That's wild.
Can you imagine, trying to stop a criminal with just, a stern look?
Just a badge until
Yeah.
Right. Please stop.
Sir, I implore you.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of public fear surrounding
for sure.
the idea of a national police force, at that time.
Right.
People were wary of a big brother
Of course. Yeah, watching every move.
watching their every move.
Yeah.
So, it's understandable, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But the FBI's early focus was mainly on issues like, antitrust cases, land fraud, copyright violations.
Right.
It wasn't like the high-stakes espionage we often associate with them today.
Right, yeah.
But the Dyer Act of 1919 really shifted things.
The Dyer Act.
Stolen cars were becoming a major problem, crossing state lines.
Yeah,
And it was leaving local police, basically, powerless.
totally.
So the FBI stepped in to investigate this interstate car theft raid.
Okay.
And they ended up recovering a ton of stolen vehicles.
I bet.
I mean, think about it. If you lived back then and you had your car stolen, the FBI might have been the ones to get it back for you.
It's true.
So it's really interesting to think about.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about J. Edgar Hoover,
Okay.
the man who really transformed the FBI, right?
And the man, the myth, the legend.
Right, exactly. So he became director in 1924, and he stayed in that role for almost 50 years,
Wow.
which is incredible. I mean,
A long time.
that kind of tenure, speaks volumes about his impact, I think. And Hoover was obsessed with modernizing the agency.
Interesting.
He implemented these strict codes of conduct, rigorous training.
Okay.
He created this centralized fingerprint database.
Wow.
And he even established the FBI crime lab.
Really?
So he really was determined to make the FBI the elite, the best of the best.
A top.
Yeah. And I could just picture, back then,
Yeah.
those sharp suits and the standardized procedures that really kind of marked the dawn of forensic science as we know it.
Right.
So it was really a big turning point.
Yeah. It was.
And Hoover understood the power of image.
Yeah.
I mean, he wanted his agents to be seen as professionals. He also knew that collaboration was key, so he worked to build trust with local police.
Okay.
And this really kind of solidified the FBI's national role.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And then, of course, came the era of gangsters and public enemy number one.
Oh, yeah.
So imagine the 1930s, smoky jazz clubs, prohibition. You've got these larger-than-life criminals like John Dillinger,
Yeah. Dillinger.
Babyface Nelson, Pretty Boy Floyd,
Wow.
Machine Gun Kelly.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, these figures captured the public's imagination
Oh, of course.
with their daring heists, these incredible escapes.
Yeah.
It was a crazy time. But then tragedy struck.
Oh, no.
The Lindbergh baby kidnapping,
Right.
this horrific event, just shocked the nation.
It did.
And it really kind of shifted public opinion about the need for a strong, federal agency.
For sure.
People demanded action.
Yeah.
And the FBI was ready
They were.
So this was a major turning point.
Okay.
The Lindbergh case was really instrumental in the FBI gaining the arrest and firearm powers that they needed to kind of become the force they are today.
Yeah, it's huge.
And it was a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
The nation was looking to them for justice.
Wow.
So this marked the FBI's transformation from like this fledgling agency to this really formidable force capable of tackling the biggest threats facing the nation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But, the FBI's rise to prominence, it wasn't without its complexities.
Right.
Like, take their role in the civil rights movement, for example.
Yeah.
That's a pretty controversial chapter in their history.
Yeah, definitely. It's a reminder that even institutions, meant to uphold justice, right?
Yeah.
They're shaped by the biases of their time.
Absolutely.
So during the Cold War, the FBI had, some notable successes in counterespionage. I mean, they caught spies like Rudolph Abel, Carlo Tormi, and really kind of solidified their reputation as protectors of national security. But as the civil rights movement gained momentum, Hoover's stance and the FBI's actions became, increasingly problematic.
Yeah.
The surveillance of activists, including figures like Martin Luther King Jr., raised some serious questions about the agency's power and its potential for misuse.
Absolutely.
So, these actions continue to spark debate about the balance between like national security and individual liberties.
Yeah, it's an ongoing discussion.
It's a discussion we're still having today, I think.
Definitely. And it leads us to another pivotal period for the FBI.
Okay.
A time marked by scandal and calls for reform.
Right.
The Watergate break-in, orchestrated by President Nixon's administration, exposed a dark underbelly of power and its potential for abuse.
Definitely.
And, the FBI got caught in the crosshairs.
Yeah, they did.
Revelations emerged that Nixon used the agency to spy on political opponents, silence critics, even wiretap members of his own staff.
It's wild.
It was a major blow to the FBI's credibility.
Oh, yeah.
Public trust was shattered.
Completely.
And then the Pike and Church committees launched investigations, uncovering a trove of disturbing information about the FBI's activities. These investigations led to, sweeping reforms, stricter rules on domestic surveillance, a renewed emphasis on transparency and accountability.
Yeah, definitely.
It was a much-needed course correction to kind of push the FBI to regain the public's trust.
Yeah, absolutely. So that brings us to the modern FBI.
Okay.
An agency with a dramatically expanded mandate.
It is.
I mean, they're responsible for everything from terrorism and cybercrime to white-collar crime and classic interstate offenses.
That's right.
The 9/11 attacks were a watershed moment for the FBI.
Yeah.
It forced a paradigm shift in priorities.
Right.
The creation of Joint Terrorism Task Forces, or JTTFs, really enhanced intelligence sharing and coordination with other agencies.
Yeah.
And, technology also became a crucial tool in the fight against these evolving threats.
DNA databases, advanced fingerprint systems like IAFIs, and sophisticated tools for tracking cyber criminals,
Yeah.
All this really revolutionized the way the FBI operates.
So, I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
If you've ever shopped online, right?
Yeah.
The FBI is working behind the scenes to combat internet fraud and protect you from scams and identity theft.
It's true.
Or if you've traveled by plane, the FBI plays a vital role in airport security, screening passengers, preventing potential threats.
Yeah.
I mean, their work touches our lives in countless ways.
It really does.
But as technology advances and the world becomes more interconnected, the FBI's role grows increasingly complex.
It does.
And with that complexity comes heightened scrutiny.
Of course.
So it raises these crucial questions about the balance between, security and freedom in the digital age.
It's a big one.
How do we ensure national security without sacrificing individual liberties?
Right, exactly.
So these are the kinds of questions we need to be asking.
Absolutely.
And, understanding the history of the FBI, their successes, their failures, their ongoing evolution.
Right.
It's all essential, I think, to engaging in a thoughtful and informed discussion about the agency's role in our society.
For sure.
And, remember that fascinating World War II story we started with?
Yeah. With the German saboteur.
Yeah, George Dash, the one who turned himself in.
Oh, right, yeah.
Well, there's more to that story.
Really? Okay.
So while Dash provided, crucial information, there was actually a second team of saboteurs already on the ground.
Oh, wow.
So the FBI had to race against time to track them down before they could carry out their plans.
Wow.
I mean, it sounds like something straight out of a spy thriller, right?
It really does.
So, what happened?
Well, thanks to Dash's intel, the FBI successfully apprehended all 8 members of that second team.
Wow.
They prevented what could have been a devastating attack.
That's incredible.
It was a major victory for the agency and for Hoover personally, further cementing their reputation as protectors of national security.
Yeah, that must have been like a defining moment for the FBI.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Solidified their role in counterespionage, highlighted the importance of intelligence gathering and swift action.
So what happened to those saboteurs?
Well, they were tried by a military tribunal and initially sentenced to death.
Wow.
However, President Roosevelt later commuted the sentences of 2 of them, including Dash, to life in prison.
Interesting. So why the leniency?
Well, historians believe it was a strategic move.
Okay.
By showing some measure of mercy, Roosevelt hoped to encourage future spies to surrender rather than carry out their missions.
That makes sense. I mean, a live informant, right?
Right.
Who's willing to cooperate is arguably more valuable than a dead one.
Exactly. It sent a message that, while the FBI would relentlessly pursue those who threaten national security, there was also a chance for redemption through cooperation.
Right. So from those tense days of World War II to the complexities of the Cold War and the challenges of the modern era, the FBI has continuously adapted and evolved.
It has.
It's a story of resilience, transformation, and this ongoing struggle to balance security and freedom in a constantly changing world.
Absolutely.
We've covered a lot of ground, I think, in this deep dive.
We have.
From humble beginnings to a global agency.
That's true.
The FBI's journey has been remarkable.
It has been.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen moments of triumph, but also, controversy and some missteps along the way.
Yeah, it happens.
It highlights, I think, that constant tension between, security and freedom.
For sure.
It's a balancing act.
It is.
That's essential for a democratic society.
Absolutely.
So what does all this mean for for our listeners out there?
Right.
Why should we care about, the inner workings of the FBI?
Well, their work impacts all of us.
Yeah.
Often in ways we don't even realize.
Right.
I mean, they're on the front lines of combating terrorism, protecting us from cyber attacks. They're investigating corruption, upholding our civil rights. They're often the unsung heroes, really.
Yeah, you are.
Working tirelessly to keep our society safe and our justice system strong.
It's a big job.
It is. And the FBI's reach extends far beyond, I think, what many people imagine.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, they're involved in areas like, consumer protection, ensuring the safety of our food and drugs, safeguarding our critical infrastructure, know.
Yeah, and as technology keeps advancing.
Right.
So, too, does the FBI's role in protecting us from all these emerging threats in the digital realm.
It's true.
I mean, the FBI is constantly developing new tools and strategies to combat cybercrime, track down online predators, and, safeguard our personal data.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a daunting task.
It is.
But one that's, crucial in our increasingly interconnected world.
Absolutely.
So this deep dive has offered, I think, a glimpse into, the complexities and challenges facing the FBI. But there's always more to explore.
There is.
Always more to learn. So if you're interested in learning more, we highly recommend the book, The Federal Bureau of Investigation by Heather Lohr Wagner.
Great book.
It provides, I think, a really comprehensive and insightful look into the history, function, and evolution of the FBI.
It does.
And we've included a link in the show notes where you can purchase the book directly.
Great.
And, of course, we encourage you to subscribe to the deep dive.
Yeah.
For more fascinating explorations,
Absolutely.
Into a wide range of topics. I mean, we make complex subjects understandable, engaging.
We try to.
Yeah, we do our best. We bring you the knowledge you crave.
That's right.
Without the overwhelm.
Learning without the overwhelm.
Exactly. So, until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and remember, knowledge is power.
It is.
We'll see you on the next deep dive.
See you then.